asking you to please tell them, madam, all this ALOY EJIMAKOR, ALOY EJIMAKOR. I mean, I keep hearing it, ALOY EJIMAKOR. I'm getting calls. Some of it in Swedish, and some of it in German, and some in French. And I have no idea how to explain it to them, but to ask you, because tell people who ALOY EJIMAKOR is.
You asking me?
Yes, I'm asking you. Tell everybody in the world. Who are you? Everybody.
Okay.
Everybody has this name, ALOY EJIMAKOR, but who are you?
Anyway, let me start by thanking you for bringing me to the show. You know, I have high regards for you. We know each other going back so many years back in DC.
Yes.
And you've been a very close friend,
and still are.
I'm impressed with what you're doing. And I'm very grateful and highly honored to be a guest here. Well, like you said, my name is ALOY EJIMAKOR. I'm a legal practitioner. I went to school in America. I attended the American University. The law school there is called the Washington College of Law. And I graduated in 1991. I took my bar exam, MAZI, and practiced law for so many years in America before I decided to come back to Nigeria and cut my teeth here. So that is really a summary of who I am. There's nothing special about me. I'm just your average Joe trying to make a living. And, you know, if you are asking me about what motivates me, I'm motivated by injustice. I don't like it. Even before I became a lawyer, everybody knew me as someone who never liked injustice. So being a lawyer, you know, emboldened me more to see what I can do to right the wrongs in my immediate environment.
Yes.
So you can say that's a bit of my extracurricular, but at the end of the day, practicing law is still a profession, is a trade, and I try to apply it to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Well, I thank you so much. Now, everybody, you get a synopsis of whom my friend ALOY EJIMAKOR is. So there's no need to ask him which village and which backyard he comes from. So that's my friend ALOY EJIMAKOR. So this program is called Let's Talk About It. And so I would like to bring on the principal person that I would like to, I want you to talk about. KANU. What was NNAMDI KANU's aim? Was it to restore? Was it to recreate? Was it to rebuild the sovereign nation of Biafra? Many Biafran people will disagree with the mass genocidal, mass massacre, wholesale slaughter. Just disagree with the mass killing, mass murdering, all these executions and mass destructions. And I think the American public, in particular those people who are in the Congressional Black Caucus, need to hear all this, that there's been mass annihilation, extermination, liquidation, you name it, anything that has been so badly done to a people, a carnage, butchery, bloodbath, all sorts of pogrom, so many things that has been happening to Biafran people, Igbo people, the war, the 3 million people. And a massacre is usually defined as killing of multiple individuals and is usually considered morally unacceptable and are perpetrated by the political, those are the political. Now here's a question. Why did you accept such a pro-Biafran political activist, British citizen, highly volatile, indigenous persons such as NNAMDI KANU and the IPOB case. Why did you accept that case?
Well, it's very simple and straightforward. I believe what NNAMDI KANU set out to do is not illegal, it's not criminal, it's not unconstitutional. NNAMDI KANU is all about self-determination for his people, the Biafran people. Self-determination, as you know, is recognized under international law. But a lot of Nigerians believe that it's recognized only under international law. No, that's not correct. It's also recognized under the municipal laws of the Federation of Nigeria, where you find it at Chapter A9, Laws of Federation of Nigeria. Article 20 of that very law explicitly mentions self-determination as a right that is recognized in Nigeria. But you see, what I think led to this initial misunderstanding back in 2015 when he was arrested is that perhaps the government of the day or the law enforcers of the government of the day at that time did not understand that the concept of self-determination is legal in Nigeria. I reached this conclusion after studying the charges that they preferred against him. They charged him, the main charge is that he did some radio broadcasts in the UK from his location in the UK, and he engaged in other activities geared to getting the people of Eastern Nigeria and parts of Kogi and other places to secede from the Federation of, from the Federation of Nigeria. Well, you see, this charge, this very, very charge is the principal charge. And the charge was framed around the definition of what self-determination is all about. Of course, self-determination means getting out of, organizing a group of people to organize themselves to the point of seeking a separate state. That's what it's all about. Exactly. When you're dissatisfied with your country and you want to create a new country out of that very country, that is self-determination, simple and short. And it has led to the founding of many nations. But when the Nigerian government confronted this concept in 2015, I think they totally missed the point. And there is no denying the fact, because the charges they framed at that time, and these charges have stuck to this day. Almost all of them were framed around the concept of self-determination as if it's a crime. But after giving it that definition around self-determination, then they now say you thereby committed treasonable felony. I mean, a secession cannot be a treasonable felony. Secession is not treason. Why? Because under Nigerian Constitution, Section 36 of Nigerian Constitution, subsection 12, clearly set it out that no Nigerian shall be tried or convicted for any offense that is not written in any Nigerian law. Nigeria has two criminal statutes, two federal criminal statutes. There's a criminal code, that is applicable to southern Nigeria, and the penal code that is applicable to northern Nigeria. In those two codes, there is no section that mentioned secession, nothing. And there is no section that mentioned self-determination. There is nothing, even by definition, that says that anybody who sets out to pursue a separate state for himself out of Nigeria has committed a crime. There's nothing like that. So how can you stand a charge in a court of law that revolves around the pursuit of an enterprise that is legal? an enterprise that is not illegal. So having looked at this, I decided that no good lawyer should reject his case. Any lawyer that rejects his case is not what he solved. It's a very good case. As Perry Mason used to say, it's an open and short case.
Is it a winnable case?
Yes, if this case is brought to trial in a well-ordered judicial system, the dismissal shall be summary. The case is not sustainable. So I took the case. And as someone would say, I took the case in defense of freedom. Thank you.
Most people are aware of the Nigerian Constitution, and for those who are not, they can, can they? But the question is, can the composition of the Constitution be useful to you in defense and protection of your client's civil and human rights? How harmful can the components of the Nigerian Constitution impact on this case and maybe other similar cases? Yeah, some people just don't agree with the Constitution of Nigeria. Will it be harmful to your case?
Well, whether you disagree with the Constitution of Nigeria or not, that is what is in vogue. That is what is in practice. That is what is being used in the country right now. So if you have any constitutional question to settle, you still have to make reference to that constitution, regardless of the regardless of how bad that constitution is, that is what is enforced. So whatever we are saying, we still have to make our arguments within the provisions of the Constitution. The Constitution is bad, everybody knows it's bad, but that is what is applicable. But as far as I'm concerned at this point, the Constitution, as it affects the case of MAZI NNAMDI KANU, is favorable to him. You see, if you go to Chapter 4 of the Constitution, you see a whole motley of fundamental rights, which I believe they copied almost verbatim from the Constitution of the United States. One of the rights guaranteed under Chapter 4 of Nigerian Constitution is the right against arbitrary arrest. You see, when government abducts somebody or kidnaps somebody or takes somebody by force and restrains, takes his liberty away from him without due process of law, it's called arbitrary arrest. And this is exactly what the government of Nigeria did to Nnamdi Kanu in Kenya. I think it's Americans that called it what it is, extraordinary rendition. Before Americans defined it, it used to be called irregular rendition or unlawful extradition. But the phrase of art, the word of art, extraordinary rendition has come to stay, to be the universal way of describing what happened to MAZI NNAMDI KANU in Kenya. And what happened to him in Kenya, as I told you, is unconstitutional within the same Nigerian constitution that you refer to. Is unconstitutional under Chapter 4 of Nigerian Constitution. So, and that's why we're in court trying to make the case that the court lacks jurisdiction, to try him based on that extraordinary rendition. There are other.
Aloy, we're going to go ahead and make sure that to ask you some very simple questions, because the legal stuff is maybe too strong for some people's head. But they all have to learn.
Okay, it's okay. All right. I don't want to sound like a law lecturer. So anybody can ask me any questions.
Okay.
We can go down to the street level. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of the simple questions that have been thrown at us in this case is the Charter of the African Union, especially Article 19 and 20. Those charters, can they be useful to the IPOB leaders' case, especially when the nation involved does not comply with those provisions? Yes,
you are right on the money. You see, those two articles you mentioned were also domesticated in Nigeria in 1983. The African Charter, of course, is a continental charter which Nigeria ratified in 1979. In 1983, they domesticated the charter and made it part of the laws of Federation of Nigeria. And they didn't change anything. They took the whole law and made it part of the laws of Federation of Nigeria. So that Article 19 and Article 20 of the Continental African Charter correspond to Articles 19 and 20 of the Nigerian variety. So whether under international law or the laws of the Committee of African States, the laws of the United Nations, international law, or the laws of Nigeria, self-determination is clearly set out under Article 20 of the Nigerian law and Article 20 of the Continental Charter. So I don't know why the Nigerian government has issues with that. I think maybe it's a hangover from the war back in 1967. But this one is different. I mean, in 1967, a line was drawn on the sand and two separate armies faced each other. This is different. When so when someone says, I want a separate state and I want to get it through referendum, it's a civil demand. It's not a violent demand. The person is actually indirect.
Let me shift you to the extraordinary rendition or expulsion. Am I okay? Or something is making noise. Nobody's shooting here. That rendition, that extraordinary rendition or discharge from Britain to Kenya and then to Nigeria. How did that happen?
Come to the table. Let us discuss the fee that. What? I didn't get you.
How did that happen? How did that? Did he commit any crime in Britain? Did he commit any crime in Kenya? Did he commit any crime that in Nigeria that called for this extraordinary rendition?
No, you see, listen, whether you call.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yeah.
We're all hearing you.
I hope I'm not trailing off or something. Okay. Anyway, whether you committed a crime or not, as an international fugitive, you're entitled to some rights.
Right.
If your country seeks your return to that very country.
Go ahead, we're hearing you.
Some kind of trial, they must apply to your country of refuge for permission. You go through a process before NNAMDI KANU is repatriated to Nigeria. If you don't do that, you have not only broken the laws of Kenya, you broke the laws of the international. Significantly, you broke your own laws. Nigeria also has what is called Mutual Legal Assistance in Commonwealth Countries Act that set out the procedure that Nigeria must follow when they are interested in seeking the return of a Nigerian accused of any offense, but who has taken refuge in another country. That procedure is clear.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So, and the constitutional procedure that I just told you was not followed. So too many laws were broken in bringing in NNAMDI KANU to face trial in Nigeria. And so what we are saying is that when a nation engages in such gross misconduct, that nation has lost the authority to try that, to bring that individual to trial. That's what we're saying.
That sounds to me like a very good position to take. And I...
Well, even in America, that's the law. You can check it out. In 1974, the US court set the standard in Toscanano. Any lawyer in the audience can check it out. In 1974, I think it's an Italian. They brought him back from Uruguay. They used bounty hunters and FBI and all kinds of people, and forcibly brought him back from Uruguay.
Yeah.
to the United States. Yeah. And the US court said, well, you can't do that. You have lost the right to try because you didn't subject him to extradition. So that is what set the standard.
Aloy, I want to ask you, before we open it up to all the viewers that are lined up everywhere, there's something that kept coming to my mind when I knew that I was going to have the opportunity to talk to my friend. But you are an American-trained attorney.
Yeah.
How is it possible that you can work with a colonial wig wear, white wig, not my kind of wig, mine is natural. How can you work with these guys that have been trained by colonial Europe? Is there a...
Well, America, Nigeria, and the United Kingdom operate what is called a common law system. Okay. So the laws of America are very similar to that of Nigeria and vice versa. You see, I have to tell you, Nigeria did not invent any particular law. It's not our system from the get-go, so we don't have any inventive capabilities. In that, we are following the Judeo-Roman law that developed into what is called common law. So even our legislations here are still borrowed whole scale, a lot of times from either England, US, or other common law countries. I can give you a whole lot of examples. When I was in the US practicing law in Washington, they came to the US and borrowed some of the sections of the American Evidence Act, especially the section that dealt with electronic evidence. They copied the whole scale from the United States. So the laws are similar, but if you are talking of the wig, well, I think the legal profession in Nigeria felt that is the proper thing to do in order to distinguish them from people like you who are not lawyers. So they can call you a layman and call themselves learned. So it's a uniform. It's like asking a soldier in combat why he's wearing uniform. He wears uniform so he gets to look like a warrior. So
well, you know,
so the wig signifies high learning.
Right. Some lawyers here in the United States, and you know, they ask the question, hey, that wig, that white wig on their head, not mine. Mine is a natural hair.
Yeah, I got you.
Is it a symbol of some kind?
Yes, symbol of learning. Symbol of learning, high learning, learned man. Yeah, high learning. And it's a colonial vestige. Of course, the language we speak right now, you and I, we're speaking English. We're speaking English. That's not our native tongue. So it's one of the unfortunate leftovers from the colonial days.
Okay. Yeah. All right. You got me.
So I guess we are stuck with it. We're stuck.
Well, you're stuck with it. You can't take that wig off, huh?
No, you don't know. He can't. Without the wig, he can't even address a court, except maybe a magistrate court or something.
Oh, well. Well, we're still having a problem with that, because if I see a guy with a wig on and he's blacker than I am, I'm chocolate black and he's black and he's got that white wig on his, and it's not his. It's very confusing. But anyway.
And the weather is pretty hot. And you know that wig is fired.
Yes, and you sweat. You sweat, right? You have your natural black hair on top of your head, and then you snap that thing on top of your head. I mean, I just hope it doesn't confuse the case.
But he has this old school colonial fashion angle to it as well. You know, some lawyers look very elegant in it, especially the female ones, don't you think?
Oh, no, I don't. I think you're elegant enough with the black hair that God gave you. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to try to open it, some question up for all these people that are lined up to ask you questions, but I would like to ask you questionnaires. Ask a question. There's a guy sitting over here. If you start talking too much to a lawyer and he will just click you right off, because we're not going to waste his time on you and everybody else. It's just too many people for us. So it's important, it's very important that you line yourself with a question in reference to Biafra, in reference to the Constitution, referendum, those things that are the subtitles of Let's Talk About It, which is which way forward. The top is which way forward, and all the other things that are below it. So please define your question, and you really basically have, if your statement is, or your question lasts more than 20 seconds, you're no longer asking a question. So I'm going to leave it to the administrators here to cut you off when they have to, because we need to get answers, good answers from our guests, ALOY EJIMAKOR. So go ahead, sir. Give me the first person to ask ALOY a question. I went to an individual named IG.
Yes, Anthony EJIMAKOR. So I commend your pen for coming to today's meeting, for honoring the invitation. It's nice to have you here. Am I being heard?
You're here. We're hearing you.
Okay. Yes, I have, what should I say? Yes, sir. It's nice to have you here, and I commend your pen for attending today's Zoom call. Thank you. My question is this. Now, I've heard you talking about legal, and speaking in legal terms. What is this about the adjournment? What is the legal leaning of such court? I don't know, is that misconduct or deviation? Where does that stand in the legal community?
So you're asking him when they are ready to go to court and they are not allowed to court inside the courtroom?
That one included. That one included. What I'm saying is all these adjournment and counter adjournment, there's no trial. The charge has not even been, there has not been any trial. It's every other day. Is adjourned. Every other day is adjourned. At what point are they going to declare the case nolle prosequi? Because the incapability of the judge to, start or commence trial.
Okay, thank you. ALOY, did you hear him well?
Yes, I heard him very well. Well, thank you for your question. On our own part, we have not requested any adjournment. All the adjournments were at the instance of the court, except for one adjournment, which was at the instance of the prosecution. That was, I think, 2 hearings ago when they couldn't bring him to court. They didn't bring him to court, and the judge issued them a very strong warning to make sure that each time his case is heard, he's brought to court. So, and they began to comply. So apart from that, the other adjournments were at the instance of the court. And there is nothing really anybody can do about that, except to make a strong case to have the case heard as quickly as possible. This very last adjournment was unfortunately too long. It didn't sit well with us, but we were not in court to in a case to have the time abridged so that the matter will be heard earlier than January 19th.
Well, we certainly are always quite concerned every time that we hear that there is a court hearing to take place, and then when you go to court, there's something that happens and the DSS or whatever they call themselves just not allowing the lawyers, his lawyers, to come into the courtroom. What kind of nonsense is that?
Okay. And more so, I got one more thing. Sir, yeah, in lieu to what he's asking, what are the powers of this DSS and the executive in flaunting court orders, the judiciary? Why does the DSS and the executive, why do they keep flaunting court orders, legal orders?
Thank you, IG. Thank you. Aloy, did you hear him? Why the DSS constantly so involved in disallowing the attorneys for NNAMDI KANU to come into court? Why are they doing that?
The DSS has absolutely no power to disobey court order. The federal government has absolutely no power to disobey court order. But they do, historically. They do and get away with it. A lot of times they get away with it. Historically. It didn't start with MAZI and NNAMDI KANU. It started way, way back. The ones they obey very quickly is court order relating to elections. To swear somebody in, they obey that one quickly. But when a court order gets them by the jugular, like in these criminal cases and what have you, they find it difficult to obey. So what we do as lawyers is we try to force them to obey the court order. We put pressure on them through the media, through filing some more processes with the court, complaining to the judge that the order is being disobeyed and asking for contempt of court against them and all kinds of citations for disobedience of court order. So eventually they get around. You can, if you remember, back in 2015, MAZI NNAMDI KANU was granted bail so many times over. But somehow they found a way of dodging implementation of the order. He will be granted bail. Excuse me?
And compliance with court order.
Yeah, they found ways of being dodgy. Eventually, they couldn't dodge it anymore because the public pressure was too much, too enormous for the government to bear. So they had to obey. So it is something we have to confront here every day, not just with regard to MAZI NNAMDI KANU, but with regard to other things. Other matters where if you get a judgment against the government, it's very difficult getting the government here to obey court order. But a lot of times, eventually, they yield and obey. Sometimes they obey right away, like in election petitions and other things like that.
Yeah.
But in a lot of cases, they don't obey. So as a lawyer, you just keep pressuring them and, working towards getting them to obey. So that's what we are confronting with, my brother.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, somebody else that the administrator will pick to, come on in. Mark, which one of you? There's a lot of you there. Onya?
Good evening.
Good evening. Who's that?
I'm Okorafo.
Oh, hi. Good evening. Thank you very much for calling in. Go ahead. Ask Okorafo. Thank you very much. Go ask ALOY EJIMAKOR your question, please.
Okay. My question is this. Learned Senior Counsel, sir. I have really learned a lot this evening so far. But I have a question. The last time they were in court, and the DSS in collaboration with the court did what they did in blocking the counsels out of court and making an adjournment. I think that alone is enough to apply to the court to change the judge having been compromised. I want to ask, is anything being done in that regard? Because that judge cannot continue to sit over the matter with the way and manner she has been handling this matter so far. She shows 100% interest in the matter, and it's not good for the interest of justice and for the rights of the accused. That's my question.
Thank you so much, Okorafo. Aloy, did you get him?
Very much. Yeah, I'm muted. I heard him clearly. Okrafo, thank you for the question. It's a very good question. Unfortunately, I don't have answers for you as a matter of policy. What we are doing regarding the unfortunate incident of November 10th is not something we will discuss in the media. Do you understand?
Yes, we understand that. There's no way for asking the judge to dismiss himself, remove himself, or, you know, we can come over there and throw the judge out. But that's something that cannot be answered at this point. Who else is next? Want people to, okay, Hi, Sense. I see you. Go ahead, my brother. We see you. Ask your question. Mwa Biafra, ask your question. Are you unmuted?
Oh, Oshion, okay. Greetings to everyone, and Attorney Ejimakor, I would prefer to address you as an attorney, as opposed to the so-called barrister thing with funny wigs they wear over there. And so my question is going back to the so-called extraordinary rendition. We were meant to understand that KANU is a British citizen, and so he actually carries a British passport. So please, can you explain to us, or if you know, why he was, I actually like to use the term kidnapped, why he was kidnapped, even though he's no longer a Nigerian citizen, he's a British citizen with a British passport. Thank you.
Okay, well, some of these questions, I'll try to answer. There's a convention, I believe is, that convention has an article in it, as Article 5, if it's not Article 7. It's a UN convention on the treatment of dual nationals. As far as that convention is concerned, the particular article or section that is escaping my mind right now, but I remember the provision. The provision is clear that when a dual national is encountered in a third state, in this case, the dual national is MAZI NNAMDI KANU, the third state is Kenya. Okay, so he's a dual national of Nigeria and Britain. So if perchance is encountered in a third state, which is Kenya, for purposes of anything, including extradition or kidnapping or abduction, or in any confrontation with the authorities in that state, that dual national is to be treated as possessing one nationality, provided two things are applicable. The two things that are applicable would determine which nationality that shall be attributable to him. And those two are as follows. One, the nationality in which he is usually domiciled, or where he maintains his principal place of residence. Or the nationality with which he had the most contact. In the case of MAZI NNAMDI KANU, Nigeria didn't qualify. NNAMDI KANU maintained his usual domicile in the UK, and he had most contact with UK, or more contact with UK than he has with Nigeria. He has lived in UK almost all his adult life. He worked there, he paid taxes there. Radio Biafra is located there. The IPOB is registered in the UK. So he has a lot of contacts with the UK. So in any dealing with Kenya, Kenya should have treated him as a British citizen or national, not a Nigerian citizen. But that's not what happened here, because Kenya is denying complicity. Kenya is denying that he knew anything about this abduction. They were aware that he entered Kenya, but they are saying that they are not aware of what happened to him after he entered.
If
you recall, a law firm was retained in Kenya to sue Kenyan government. And one of the main purposes of that lawsuit is to bring the truth out. And Kenyan government has joined the issues in that lawsuit, and they denied on the record. Before the lawsuit, their denials were on the pages of newspapers. Right now, they denied in open court in writing under penalty of perjury that NNAMDI KANU did not undergo any extradition or deportation proceedings in Kenya.
Yeah.
So that denial has affirmatively confirmed that Nigeria might have acted alone or acted with Kenya, but Kenya has what they call deniability in diplomatic circles. Because if Kenya doesn't have deniability, why are they denying something that they know they are going to be exposed later? Their denial is too strong. So, but what is the way out? There are two ways. Their denial in open court will force them to disclose information to the court under subpoena.
Right.
Of the movements at Jomo Kenyatta Airport on that very day of the abduction, and movements at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport on the day of repatriation,
right,
or rendition to Nigeria. So those things are developing. And if they begin to sit on any of those informations, it will be a pointer to challenging the credibility of their denial. So if they want the world to believe that they are not complicit, they have to cooperate with the court by disclosing the truth of what they know. Okay, that's the legal part of it. On the diplomatic side, Britain can put Kenya under the hot seat. I believe Britain is trying to do that, but we don't know everything they are doing. It's not out in the media. But, you know, based on my interactions with the lawyers in the UK, they are called the Bindemans. There's an engagement between Britain and Kenya on one hand, and Britain and Nigeria on the other. So, but unfortunately, these things do take time, and diplomatic engagements can be terribly slow. And of course, you know, the United Nations has come into the picture since the 27th of August. There was a decision they took, or action they took, which is called urgent appeal. They sent it to Kenya and Nigeria to explain the circumstances separately of this rendition. And those things were not supposed to be disclosed to the public until after 60 days. So they were made public on 26th of October by the United Nations. I believe some of you saw the copies. It was the copies were widely circulated in the media. So there have been a lot of interventions, but the only thing that is left is for any of these interventions in Kenya, by United Nations, by Britain, or the interventions we are doing in Nigeria, or the one I have done with the African Union. I filed a communication, a complaint with the African Union. We are hoping that one of these interventions will net a result sooner than later. Thank you.
We hope so too. Thank you so much, ALOY, for that answering that question. Who else do we have, my brother? Because I have one question that, ALOY, let me ask you this question. The Interpol, is the Interpol involved in this transfer of a British citizen, Kenya, and Nigeria? The Interpol, are they involved at all? Do you know?
No, the Interpol was never involved. Listen, now you see, there's a lawsuit I brought before the Abia State High Court.
Correct.
That lawsuit is sui generis. It's sui generis, meaning that the lawsuit can proceed on its own right. It's a fundamental rights action. You know, it can bring it anywhere where this thing occurred. So, but you know, I went back to 2017 when they attacked MAZI NNAMDI KANU's house in Omaha. Right. And he took a flight of safety. to wherever, and then eventually to Kenya. So my case in chief is someone tried to kill him, and he survived. He made a lucky escape, and he pursued him to Kenya. And instead of taking him before a Kenyan court, you renditioned him back to Nigeria. That is very bad. There is no system that should allow that to happen. So I brought a separate lawsuit, and it is the same argument that it is our case in chief in Abuja, upon which we are challenging the jurisdiction of the court to try him. The lawsuit in Umuahia is challenging the authority of the prosecutor, not the authority of the court in Abuja, because the prosecutor is amenable to lawsuit. But it's not very easy to make a judge amenable to lawsuit. They are, but it's a complicated process. But the prosecutor, like everyone else, is amenable to lawsuit. So I sued the prosecutor, which is the Attorney General of the Federation, to stop him from prosecuting NNAMDI KANU. Okay, so the jurisdictional challenge you are doing in Abuja is against the court, the authority of the court to try him based on all these misconducts that we are committed.
Right.
So that's so that's where we're going with that. Do you understand?
We do understand. Thank you so much for that response. Who is the next person to respond? Hyacinth, we understand that you are the next person. How are you, my brother? There, we'll get you out. Unmute yourself, Hyacinth.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. You have a question to ask for
yes. MAZI Ejimako, ana m eji ohere ekene gị nye gị nnukwu ekene pụrụ iche na mbọ ị na-agbara NNAMDI KANU and the entire Ndị Igbo by extension. Ihe gbatara n'ebe anyị nọ na this part of the world, United States, anyị achọ iji ntị anụ anybody na-ekwu anything gbasara ebe ị nọ. You know, but however, when that will by the way, you can't, you know, dismiss that kind of rumors in Agane. But Brunuche that Ndị Igbo, ndị ezigbote Ndị Igbo nọ n'obi na-atụ na-enwe ọkụ n'obi ọnọdụ Ndị Igbo nọ behind you. I kwuru gị n'azụ. Unshakable determination.
Okay.
I'm na-agwa gị. Biko, I have a simple question.
Thank you.
Question is this. Is there any secret negotiation going on behind the scene relative to the release of NNAMDI KANU? Thank you.
Thank you so much. And just for the audience that could not understand language, let me clear it for the audience. Aloy, no, you go ahead, because I said Sulezi Wibo. And so and for some people, they did not understand the question. So my brother, Aloy, explain to the English-speaking countries what Hyacinth asked you and the statement that he made. Go ahead, sir.
My question was asked in English. I
understand both.
Okay.
Well,
okay, go ahead, Aloy. Go ahead.
My brother, thank you for those encouraging words. But I have to tell you, you are going to hear more, because I think some people were paid humongous amount of money to try to complicate NNAMDI KANU's defense by attacking the people closest to him, including my humble self and his family members and whatnot. So it's a tactic, it's a strategy of distracting myself from competently representing NNAMDI KANU. So it's laughable So they can, well, they can go ahead. We know who they are. They are not representing. The only thing funny is that they will invoke the name of NNAMDI KANU. They will say, oh, NNAMDI KANU must be released today and tomorrow. And then the next thing they will say, they will now start attacking people close to him. So, I mean, that's such a crass, childish hypocrisy that people like you have recognized for what it is. So it's worthless, and they were paid to do this, and they are not succeeding. So having said that, let me go to the other one. Hello?
Yes, we're hearing you. The question of any secret.
The other one is this. I don't know who follows my tweets. I think about 3 weeks or 1 month ago, I made a tweet. I said, hello.
Hello? We hear you. We hear you, Aloy.
Sure. Yeah, I'm having network issues. Anyway, let me speak very fast. So it's not just on the ground. It's above ground. Some eminent Igbo people, led by Mbazulika Amechi, they went to the villa to appeal for political solution and his release. And you can't have political solution without releasing him first. So yes, the answer is yes. It's above ground. People, Bianco no called for his release a few days ago, so a whole lot of people are intervening. And before the Anambra election, all the candidates signed a joint statement calling for his release. Right. And all kinds of things. But you see, that is as far as the political part of it goes. Right. So there's a clarification here. So when I had told you that what is being done in Kenya, UK, United Nations, or here, one of them definitely will net a result. The other one is what this very political side of it that the last speaker raised. Yes, that one can happen because under the Constitution, the Attorney General of the Federation has the authority to release him by discontinuing the prosecutions. You can find that under Section 174 of the Constitution. But you know that the Attorney General will not act without a directive from the presidency. So, yes.
If the Attorney General is acting under the direction of the president, does that mean that the president has control on this case?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, 100%. It's not like United States where the president has limited control over the Attorney General. Even in America, Trump tried to do that with the previous Attorney General. He used to insult him all over the place because he wouldn't allow him to control him. And then eventually he got rid of him and got back. I think he was controlling back to some extent, don't you think?
Yes. Hello? Yes, we're with you. We're hearing you. Yes.
I'm saying, okay, so you can imagine America, where the former president tried to control his attorneys general. So in Nigeria here, your guess is as good as mine. Yes, the Attorney General is completely under the control and direction of the president. I don't think he will activate that 174 of the Constitution without directives from the president.
So that means that NNAMDI KANU's case basically is being determined by the president of Nigeria?
Yes.
Wow.
So who is determining it? Yes, it's the president of Nigeria.
And not the court. So the court says nothing, the president says it, the Attorney General responds, and then goes to court. Is that the process?
No.
If the president does not believe that what NNAMDI KANU is doing is not treason, that is not a crime, clearly the president believes that is a crime. That is the policy of the day. That self-determination is a crime. Unfortunately, that is the pervasive notion in the villa. If the presidency peels this thing off its eyes and say, hey, look, it doesn't look like this thing is a crime. It might be an inconvenient political opinion, but why should we try to suppress it by means of punishment of some sort? Why don't we talk about it? That would be a change of gear. So if the president says, well, bring everybody to the table, let's talk about self-determination and referendum, it's all over. Well, so yes, we're on to something here. Yeah, so if the government of the day, if the government of the day wins itself off from this misconception that what MAZI KANU is doing is a crime. The crime. Then it's all over. There is no more case to answer.
Self-determination is not a crime. So if, as you see, this program is called Let's Talk About It with Chief Obidike. And if the president, whom I have interviewed before, I have interviewed Buhari before, if he wants to, let him invite BTV and we will come wherever he wants, at his expense, of course, and we will talk about it. Who has the next question? Carlo, where are you, Carlo? Are you here now? Ah, Master Carlo. Thank you. Come on in.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Great. Good. I have a few questions here for Aloy.
A few.
The first one is, the court granted you to visit NNAMDI KANU. Some people still tend to doubt if you have actually visited KANU. And some argue that messages probably did not come from KANU himself. Some of those messages we are getting from your visit. Some even say that you are compromised or you're there for the money. Oh. So what do you have to say about that?
He has a
if you ask the second question. Let him ask the second question.
No, I'll answer the question. If you are coming from the school of thought that believe that I brought any message on suspension of sit at home, I made a tweet on that. It's long and buried. I was not the one that brought the message out. So the people that say that I brought the message, those are the same people I'm telling you about. They are the enemy. Okay. So they know the truth, but they still push the lie. Then I wasn't the person that brought any message that anybody should be expelled. So those people that are mad or they have been driven crazy because they were expelled, this is the first opportunity I have to tell them that I wasn't the one that brought the message, but I'm not at liberty to start mentioning the name of the person that brought the message. They know themselves. So the other ones really don't deserve an answer. Yep. If someone, MAZI KANU had appeared in court on several occasions, and I don't know why anybody, including Mr. Carlo himself, who is asking the question, who believe that since July, from early July to last Thursday when I visited him last, I was with him Thursday last week, which is about 3 days ago, from July to last Thursday that I had not visited NNAMDI KANU at DSS. I mean, come on. Why should we sing slow? Please, let's be serious. Eh?
Okay, I do understand you exactly, and I just wanted to add this out so in your response, people will understand, because it's not, I don't even consider it possible that you wouldn't have seen him till now. My second question, though, is when you visit him, when you visit him, what kind of privacy are you guys given?
Well, the privacy of a cell block is as good as you can get. So we do have a semblance of privacy, but it's not sufficient. So we are very careful in our communications because we do discuss legal issues and legal strategies. We are supposed to have privacy. The Constitution says we should. They put us in a room and we talk with him. And I don't know whether the room has hidden eyes or hidden ears, but we make the assumption that privacy is not 100%. So we talk with discretion. Thank you.
Finally, as his lawyer, which I'm personally very, very happy about, because I know you and know how prepared you are, how qualified you are to handle a case like that. But what worries you most as his lawyer? especially given the type of country we have? What worries you most?
That's a good question. Thank you.
Well, it's a good question. I am concerned about his health. I don't think the facility at the DSS, the health center there is sufficient and adequate. I'm very concerned about that. Everybody who cares about him is concerned about that. The British High Commission is also concerned about that. And we have made a very good case of his health being a basis to transfer him from the DSS to prison custody. But that case didn't succeed because government raised national security concerns, which the court accepted. So that is really something that concerns me a lot, not only me, but everybody who is near and dear to him. And we are working very feverishly to see that that condition will change sooner than later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, MAZI, KANU.
Thank you.
We have, we have a lot of people. It's almost impossible to get to everybody. Who are we choosing next to ask the question?
Then another thing that concerns
Go ahead.
me.
Yes.
Another thing that concerns me a lot. I didn't want to say this, but let me say it because somebody brought it up. The idea that a segment of our people would not see what a propaganda is. A segment of our people in diaspora, not in Nigeria, a lot of people in Nigeria are not buying that. They are laughing over it. A segment of our people who are obviously well-educated and exposed seem to be listening to certain things that are being put out there in order to hurt MAZI NNAMDI KANU's case. It's the same sort of people that said those things that are attacking the case that I filed. Oh my. So how can you say you like MAZI NNAMDI KANU, you believe in Biafra, you believe in self-determination, and the people that are working hard to change this terrible situation, to correct this situation and, have him regain his freedom and whatnot and defend his rights. Those are the people you keep attacking every day with lies. And I'm disappointed that some people are even listening to them. They are the enemy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I'll get back on that. But, who is the next caller?
Yeah, can I talk?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Who am I talking to?
My name is Amaka.
Amaka?
Yes.
Welcome. Go ahead. Ask your question.
Okay. Mr. ALOY Ejimakor, good afternoon from here. Mr. ALOY, honestly, I am really happy that I'm able to speak with you or to speak to you, in real time. But my concern and what keeps me awake each time I remember NNAMDI KANU, I just keep wondering, the last time he was in court, he was still wearing the same attire. When they brought him back from, when they extradited him from Kenya, visit him, what does he wear? And who are the people that provide his meal? Each time I remember that NNAMDI KANU, in fact, after the last visit, I learned that he doesn't sleep with a pillow. Look at that. He has been on the same clothing and that he's confined 23 hours of the day. He just have only one hour. And within that 1 hour, anybody that interacts with him, they will put the person in a confinement. Oh my God. Each time my heart pounds and my blood runs so hot. How does NNAMDI KANU feel? Who makes his food? Who do you take food to him? Do they give him food? These are my concern. Honestly, the food that he eats is a major concern to me because I really don't know. Every time I remember NNAMDI, fear grips me. So what does he wear? How does he feed? Please, I'm just interested in how does MAZI NNAMDI KANU feed?
Maka, you are such a wonderful person. I can detect that your question is very much concerned about the well-being of NNAMDI KANU. And I think a very, very passionate concern. I thank you for that concern and question. My brother ALOY EJIMAKOR, please give this young lady, answer her question, please.
My sister, thank you for your question, Amaka. I noticed the emotion in your voice, and it's very touching. I'm concerned as well. The first move that I made was to ask for the permission to arrange for his food for us or his relatives to take of his food, and or the British High Commission. That request was rejected because of they too don't trust us. That's what they said, that they don't trust us. So who is going to be the food tester? Blah, blah, blah. Is it the British Embassy or High Commission or myself or his relatives or whatever? We got into that. You know, they have this policy that nobody brings anything from outside because they don't want, they say they also have a duty to protect him. Okay? So they insist that they are responsible for him, for his well-being. Okay, so we are in a catch-22 here. You see, it's a controlled environment. We cannot force a change of policy. So it remains that way. And we, one of the things you said, you know, some of the things you said, almost all of them are contained in the press release, which I did. That's how I got the information. We did it jointly. So these things are concerns that we also have. And these concerns have been channeled to the appropriate quarters. And we continue to have such concerns about his comfort and so on and so forth, and his well-being. So I do believe that the jinx breaker here is not trying to get him better clothing or whatever. The jinx breaker is to have him released. That's our strategy. He doesn't deserve to be there. He doesn't even deserve to be in prison. So there's nothing better than freedom. So that's jinx breaker. That is the ultimate prize. So, but when they try to confuse us or distract us with these other things, as if that should be the main issue, we are putting our eyes on the prize because we know they cannot change. They cannot change in how they treat anybody or whatever. But, you know, there are just things I don't want to say, but in the media. But as far as those concerns are concerned, they are genuine. But whether there are one or two gaps or some things that do give comfort sometimes, even he himself. Well, yes, you can say yes. Well, hello.
We are with you. We're with you.
Sorry. On a last note, Mr. Ejimako, biko no iga tomorrow. Jishike ganichi gigwaya that na this forum held, and that some people are really praying and we're really asking God to please continue to strengthen him.
Thank you.
Amen.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amaka. Very well said and appreciative. God bless you. Lord, there's a question that has been sent to me that there is a rumor that DSS took MAZI KANU to Ojiuzo, Kalu, resident at middle of the night on Thursday. Is there any truth to that rumor that he's been taken to Ojiuzo, Kalu's residence, which would be in Ibede?
No, I met with him on Thursday. I left DSS almost 5 p.m.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And there's no...
It's not true.
Okay. No, it's not true. Okay, that's good enough. Who's the next person to ask the question? We don't want to hold the brother too long, you know, because Onyx.
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, my brother Adalo. Ask your question, my brother.
Yeah. Attorney Ejimakor.
Yes.
I thank you so much. We've spoken once a long time ago. You may not remember me, but that's fine. We'll talk again. I thank you so much, and I thank Amaka for her concerns, which is everybody's, that I love MAZI and the KANU, and I subscribe to her request to let him know that we're concerned, we're behind him to the last. Now, this is my personal concern.
Thank you.
Given Britain, that's our enemy number one, how do you trust their so-called intervention? I am going to make you a gift of a book that was published April 1 this year by Max, S-I-O-L-U, and Lasalo. The title is A Short History of Conquest and Rule, What Britain Did to Nigeria. Before this book was published, I was notified that it was coming out, and I'm one of the first people to finish reading this book. You're going to read this book. I would never trust Britain for anything. And then as I read this book, tears unconsciously pours from my eyes. What Britain has done to us is what is still going on. Like the same modus of operandi, burning villages and killing people. I don't trust them for anything. Now, UN, Human Rights International, the Igbo lawyers with you, what are they doing? Amnesty International, those of us that read voraciously knows that in situations like this that happen in other countries in the world, these so-called NGOs in the world, I know how many times I have signed in more than 20 years for Amnesty International when other people in other countries are being maltreated. And that of Nigeria is different. Even what Nigeria is doing as a sovereign nation has never been done. Anybody that reads voraciously by anybody anywhere else. And it was ignored by UN and international bodies.
Thank you, sir. Ask your question, sir. Ask the question.
Yes, my question is, how do you trust what Britain is telling you they're doing to release MAZI and the KANU? How do you trust?
Thank you so much.
You said that 1 or 2, 3, people filing for it, 1 or 2 is going to yield the result. I would say put pressure on UN and ignore Britain. I will never, nobody from Biafra and the Igbos, everybody should get hold of this book and read it.
Thank you so much for that question.
Thank you.
Onyx, thank you so much. Aloy, it has become a major global question from Biafrans all over the world that has been coming in contact. That trust issue involving the British government, the British that amalgamated that area, the Nigeria. How can you, as the attorney for NNAMDI KANU, trust any segment, any part of any member of the British Parliament, from its ministers all the way to the Queen Elizabeth and anyway? How can you trust them and get the release of NNAMDI KANU?
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, in 1984, Nigeria attempted to rendition Omar Odiko to Nigeria. They put him in a crate. They put him in a crate,
right?
Marked it diplomatic baggage, and they attempted to sneak him to Nigeria through Heathrow International Airport, and they got caught.
We remember that story.
So Britain took some actions. They took some countervailing measures. They arrested up to 17 persons. I think 4 were convicted, and they served various terms of imprisonment up to 8 years. And they were were all deported, and Britain severed the diplomatic relations with Nigeria for 2 years. They expelled almost the entire Nigerian diplomatic delegation to Britain. And there are just too many other things that happened. And the international community was in sync with Britain on the actions that it took. So all we have to do in this case, and in that of Omar Diko wasn't a citizen of Britain. They were protecting him because he was a resident. He was on British soil. So
that's a difference.
Now, so all we needed to do is to call the attention of British authorities to what they had done in 1984 to protect Omar Diko, a non-citizen. So in our own situation, I don't know how many of you who have read my articles. I have written articles on this, published widely internationally, where I had made the argument that NNAMDI KANU deserved more than Omar Diko. He deserved more diplomatic protection from Britain than what Omar Diko got in 1984. Because the only game changer here is because of citizenship, yes. Now, the only game changer here that is not common is that it happened in Kenya. It didn't happen on British soil. But I had also argued in the public domain. I had argued in the public domain as far as diplomatic relations are concerned, or diplomatic relations laws are concerned. MAZI NNAMDI KANU is still technically speaking in Kenya, between Britain and Kenya. Technically speaking, he's still in Kenya because Britain can ask Kenya, where is our citizen, Her Majesty's subject named MAZI NNAMDI KANU, who entered your country on 5th May? What happened to him? They can look they can look Kenya in the eye and ask that question, that tough question to Kenya, and Kenya will have to answer. Because the moment NNAMDI KANU entered Kenya, he came under the protection of the Kenyan government. On behalf of who? On behalf of Britain, not on behalf of Nigeria, because he didn't enter Kenya with Nigerian passport. Okay, so these are the things that are playing out, and regardless of whether you trust a system or not, you still have to activate that system to take responsibility for what it must do under its own laws. That is why we're even going to courts here. Someone was asking me the other day, and he said, "Aloy, you people are doing well in court, but if you get any of these court orders, Nigerian government may not obey." I say, well, any lawyer that allows himself to be held prisoner, because of the prospects of non-obedience of a court order, then, should look for another profession. So I said, well, let's get the court order first. So I am the one handling the diplomatic engagement with the British High Commission here. And the Bindmans, a big law firm in UK, is handling the engagement with the home government in Britain. And we've gone far. So to bring them to par, to bring them to the point where they are taking responsibility for their citizens. But you see, there are certain complications there. Yes, I acknowledge. But whether Britain has done enough on this matter or not, the answer is no.
No.
And I've told them that, privately and publicly, they haven't. And I keep bringing up the case of Omar Diko as an albatross. It's a reference point. So my argument is that if you can do that for Omar Diko, regardless of the fact that the locale of the crime or rendition was Britain, the only difference here is that the locale is Kenya, a foreign country. But that difference is cancelled out by the fact that NNAMDI KANU is a citizen and Omar Diko wasn't.
Was not.
So that's where we are. So I can't vouch for them. But when I was saying that one of the things that that are being done will net a result, I mentioned that, yes, A lot of these things have in the past been solved through diplomacy. I cannot foreclose that completely because it's dangerous to do that. Right. If you foreclose the avenue of diplomacy, it will prevent you from engaging that avenue.
Oh, no, you're
just
correct.
Like I was telling you with an analogy to the person who asked me about court orders, you know, I would not foreclose the tenacity or usefulness of a court order because I'm afraid that the government will not obey the order. No, it's wrong. So regardless of any trust issues or what have you in that department, the engagement with Britain still continues.
Understood.
Okay, and hopefully they'll come around to doing the right thing.
I understand that. Thank you so much about that, lawyer. That's a well understood answer to the question. And I really want to say, I apologize to all of you people that would like to ask ALOY EJIMAKOR, but we are now going to pursue an end to this, and hopefully maybe in due time, because things are happening every day and happening every week, we could possibly ask ALOY to come back and give us an update on what is going on. But ALOY, there is some people, one more question from a former person that asked a question before about other people that are in prison. They would like to take some time and ask you to shed some light about the others that are in prison and what needs to be done. Okarafo, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we understand that you really would like to pounce on this issue of other people in prison in a question and maybe a slight comment because we're getting ready to end the show. Would you please go ahead and make your comment?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Leonard Senior Counsel, sir, are you still with us?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's here. Go ahead.
It's okay. I'm trying to ask a question. I want to know exactly what the plans are in regard to these persons that I just discovered in Kaduna. Because as a matter of fact, the 80% of them were those arrested at OPIGO over a year ago. And the truth is they are languishing there. Is there any plan whatsoever towards getting them out of there as soon as possible?
Yes.
If there is, secondly, what exactly is the next move to be taken? Because as much as I would really love to actually be involved, I wouldn't want to do something where some persons are already working on. So I have to know if there is something being done presently as we speak. So,
okay, Counsel, you're a lawyer,
yes,
right?
Sir.
Because I can't see your face. There is one Okoraf I know. I don't know. I met in Abuja here. I don't know if that's the same person.
Okoraf, are you a lawyer?
Yes, sir. We've met on 2 occasions.
Are you in Texas?
Yes, we met in Texas. We also met in Abuja.
Yes, hello.
Okay, well, let me put it this way, Counsel. There is never anything any lawyer can do regarding the matter of IPOB members in detention that will be an overdue.
Yes.
If you want to bring this to the attention of the United States Congress and other policymakers in America, like White House and what have you, by all means do that. I mean, it wouldn't be a duplication. Even if it's a duplication, it's even better because it will be coming from different sets of people. Or you want to bring it directly to the attention of your congressman or congresswoman in Texas, go for it. If you're in Nigeria here and you want to join the legal team in going to Kaduna to file some applications in court, because that's just what lawyers do.
I
mean, you understand? So what we do is we file applications to enforce their fundamental rights, and that usually will lead to bail.
Yes, I would have gone ahead to file when I got the call from Amnesty International. Because the ones that were in Abuja and when I wanted to go ahead, I spoke with one or two persons who are in the leadership, and they said there would be a meeting. And you know the way our people do, if you wouldn't want to go and venture into something,
no, you see, the way it's tied here is tied here to join the legal team directly. I mean, the legal team has the free hand. For instance, if you're in the UK and you want to join in the Air Force of the Bindmans, they will be happy to have you. If you're in Kenya and you want to join the Lukri, they'll be happy to have you. You don't have to make reference to the leadership. If you're in Nigeria and you want to assist the legal team,
this is why I'm being careful, you know. This is why I'm being careful, so far so good.
No. I'm telling you now, and I'm saying it in open air.
Yes, I want to state an encounter that happened with me recently.
Okay, you're not allowing me to answer the question.
Okay, I'm with you.
Can I answer the question? Okay, yes, let me use MAZI NNAMDI KANU's case as a reference point. You know, there are a lot of lawyers wishing to join pro bono. Part of the quarrel we have with the court, and with the DSS is that they are blocking some lawyers from having access to the courtroom or even coming close enough to assist in the case. I mean, even with their presence. Not that everybody will be addressing the court at the same time, but there's a feeling you get when you have a battery of lawyers backing you up. You know, so there is no special approval. There's no special approval for that. So if you're in Nigeria and you want to join the legal team to help out, by all means, you know, your services will be accepted happily. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. I get you, sir.
Yeah, a lot of lawyers offer to help, and no single lawyer, you know, has been rejected, because what we do is in open court. We file applications, we do all kinds of things with the court system, with the judicial system, with an eye on wanted, getting that person to regain his or her freedom. Because we've been doing this for years. A lot of these people, they don't bring charges against them. So the moment you make contact with the court and you locate where the detention is. I have one particular case in Port Harcourt, and I sent one of the lawyers down there. He came back from Port Harcourt yesterday, and he got a court order for the DSS to produce the gentleman on 6th December. So I can tell you almost that there is an anticipatory bail already, because they don't have anything on him. There is no charge pending against him. So that very lawyer goes to Port Harcourt from Onitsha. So he finished with the matter on Thursday. He couldn't leave on Thursday. So the following day, on Friday, he had one or two places to go to serve them processes, DSS and the police. And he couldn't leave the same day because of bad roads. So he left yesterday and arrived on Onitsha. And he just briefed me. And I think he did very well. On 6th December, we expect to have the gentleman home. So this is the way we work, you know.
I thank you so much. Thank you so much, Aloy. That was very good. Okarafo, that is an issue that certainly needs the attention of the world, because there are too many people that are being arrested, especially in the Biafra, who are being the evil people that are being arrested and incarcerated in prisons everywhere in Nigeria. And you're right. Where are the NGOs? Where are the NGOs? It's a good point. I thank Aloy for the answers that he gave. We're going to try to wrap this up and ask Aloy to summarize this. But I also want to ask Aloy, Bigo, what do you say to the millions of NNAMDI KANU's followers? What kind of upward lifting of hope that things are going to get better, things are going to work in the interests of NNAMDI KANU and Biafra in general? And what do we say? What do you say to them? Can you say something to them? And the second part, Ndibo against Ndibo. There seems to
okay, let me, the internet. Can I take the question? I understand where you're going.
Go ahead.
I'll take the last. I'll start with the last one. There's nothing like Ndibo against Ndibo. Ndibo are so solidly behind NNAMDI KANU and his legal team here in Nigeria. You have seen it in the papers. The College of Bishops and Archbishops, they are behind him. The traditional rulers, people that were sitting on the fence are out, baring their teeth. They are all behind him. Okay?
Yes.
He has become the favorite son of Ndibo and even parts of South.
Good.
Now, what I have to say to people is this. Please dispel this notion of Ndibo against Ndibo. There is a set of people that they paid money in America. Yes, they paid them to be causing this confusion that leads to the conclusion or the perception that it is Igbo against Igbo. They are the enemy. Look at what they write. You know, it's there. It's so, you don't have to be told. When people write what they write and put on the internet, it's very, very clear. You know, I mean, if they were not paid, then they must be crazy. They must be mad. So Igbo unity is rock solid on this matter of NNAMDI KANU.
Amen.
Anybody that is kicking from the side and trying to put people in the spot, all kinds of rumors or whatever, somebody called them rumors, accusations, blackmail, these people are paid agents. And, you know, they put something out there and they use robot accounts to spread it. You check some of the accounts were opened, Twitter accounts that were opened last week, Facebook opened 2 weeks ago. They were paid to cause all this confusion. And I'm happy that it's not working here in Nigeria. That is what I'm telling you. It seems to be working in diaspora, but it's not working here. You know, rather than you know, going astray, people are pulling together.
Awesome.
Even politicians that you considered enemy to the doctrine of self-determination, they are all coming around. So when somebody asks me if there are political maneuverings, yes, I answered yes. And who are the people doing the maneuverings? Igbo leaders. And I'm not going to stay here and start rubbishing them that they are saboteur or I won't do that. A lot of them are well intentioned. You know, they are very well intentioned. So my brother, there is hope. There is hope. We're working very hard. And the others, if NNAMDI KANU is released tomorrow, I stand to be corrected, but it will not be the effort of one person. It will be a collective, it will be the result of a collective effort, including the efforts of people like you, people that have spoken here, who have done small things that will percolate and become big things. Some of you here have participated in demonstrations. Some may have written letters I don't know about. These things count. So even if it's a court order, it is still public pressure that will bring government to obey the court order. If it is diplomatic intervention is still going to be public pressure. If it's going to be political, it's still public pressure. And who are the public? The members of the public include people on this platform right now.
Thank you.
Disparate people, millions, as the moderator said. So those are the people we should be looking at. Anybody that is distracting or coming out with distracting information or divisive information or divisive rhetoric is the enemy. I don't have any better word for that, for them. If there's any word, is worse than the enemy. And, I'm happy that they will not succeed at what they are trying to do.
Thank you.
So the moment
Thank you so much.
You turn your back.
Also, MAZI, can you give me a second?
My brother, we have concluded this.
Yes, I just want to.
Thank you, OBDK. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
We have done everything to conclude it.
I thank you, Cornell. Cornel, I thank you, Amaka. I thank you. I thank Okorafor. I thank Chima. And make a no name, Shinike, and Kunemen at the diaspora. Meshena Ike, Okafor, Eboka, Carlo, and I make a loan on Cha, Equedi, Udodrigo, Rosemary, and I make a loan on Annie Hem Neku. Ekele come on the makwa because they were namiwe.
Thank you.
Joseph. On chat Monday when they are no here, I know their phone number. So I'm make a loan then the moderator, OBDK Ajunchuku, I'm proud of you. I thank you so much, and I look forward to coming back to this program very soon in the future. Thank you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, my brother Aloy. Because there is not really, all of a sudden there's so many more people. They have their hands up and they want to talk and, yeah. But we will do this again. Here's the promise. We will do it again. We will get a hold of ALOY EJIMAKOR.
All right, guys, good night. Good night from Nigeria.
Thank you.
Good night. We'll be back to you. Thank you so much, my brother.
ALOY,
thank you.
We love you. We love you. We love you. Go ahead.
Stay strong. And continue. We love you too. NNAMDI KANU, we love you.
Bye, Mr. ALOY.
Yes.
Yes. So I just wanted to point this out because there is a lot of confusion now going on between the POS and the so-called director of emissary. I had wanted MAZI EJIMAKOR to expatiate on that and let us know if at all this director of emissary is approved by MAZI NNAMDI KANU. So that is what I had wanted to stress on, to ask MAZI EJIMAKOR.
My brother, but we have also many people that had questions and statements that they would like to make, and we try to keep it organized and give everybody the opportunity to ask a question of one of the principal lawyers for NNAMDI KANU. So if we omitted to get that point or your point across, and I don't think so, we just additional point, we will make sure that we'll do that at our next time, at our next segment, or maybe even bring you into the studio and let you come and express more and have a standard talk. That's what we call it. Let's talk about it.
Exactly. Because
if we don't talk about it, MAZI, my brother, I said, don't worry. We will get this done, okay? We've got so many new programs, but let me thank my unbelievable producer for the hard work that they've done. Let me thank MAZI KANU and well, indirectly thank him, even though he was not here, and ALOY EJIMAKOR, who agreed to come to our show. We appreciate it. We thank him very kindly. Okarafo, we thank you. We thank you. Everybody, Onyx, we thank you. Amaka, oh, what a wonderful lady. God bless you, my dear sister. I would like to, in the next show, have a lot of ladies, because I'm sure that if any no impacts on you as well. And we'd like to have you to come on the show. As a matter of fact, if my producers agree, I would like to have an all women, that's correct, all women show. Until the next time, my dear brothers and sisters, this entire show has been produced and brought to you by ABTV Network, ABVet Network, American Vietnam veterans. We have fought for this country, but we are veterans. And this is why we put together this program and call it the American Biafran Veterans TV Network. And until the next time, this is Chief Obijike on Let's Talk About It. God bless you. God keep you. Stay well. Stay well.
Shout, counter marching all about, and those caissons go rolling along. For it's high, high in the field artillery. Count out the numbers loud and strong. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And wherever you go, you will always know that those caissons go rolling along.
To all Biafrans worldwide, we hereby inform Biafrans, American Biafran Veterans Network, ABVet, is not one and the same organization as American Veterans of Igbo Descent, ABVet. We are all Igbo people, but we, American Biafran Veterans Network, have a defined agenda. American Biafran Veterans Network are Biafrans who served and are currently serving in the United States military. We, American Biafran Veterans Network, strongly and clearly are in support of self-determination, self-defense for Biafran restoration. Biafrans are brave and courageous. It takes two people to agree to make peace. Our opponents, perpetrators, do not want peace. Rather, they want us in pieces. We have no other option at this junction than to unleash everything necessary to defend our lives and ancestral Biafra land. Self-defense is not offensive and never a crime. We have watched enough of the atrocities being perpetrated in Biafra land for centuries, hoping for elusive peaceful solution. Thousands of Biafran men and women, youths, are blatantly incarcerated unjustly as prisoners in various locations across Nigeria. We therefore summon all freedom fighters of Biafra extraction, including Ijo, Efik, Igodomigo, Igala, Ukoja, Ishikiri, Urobo, Umuibo, and IPOB, led by MAZI, NNAMDI, KANU, and other freedom-seeking groups. All should come forward and be informed by American Biafran Veterans Network. We are willing, committed, and able to get the mission of restoring Biafran nation accomplished. You can reach us or support by calling 202-250-0001. That is 202-250-0001. Or email us at info@abvet.org. May God bless you. May God defend Biafra.